everyone, my name is Fawn and I'm here today with Jacob to demonstrate our new product, Ikonart. Ikonart is a customizable silk screen that can be used to create custom stencils in the comfort of your own home. So Jacob, shall we show them how to make a stencil like this?
Let's do it.
So Jacob, what do we need to get started?
So everything we have here, we have our exposure unit, our artwork. In this bag we have our Ikonart film, a clipboard, a squeegee, paint, and we need a sink with hot water and preferably a spray nozzle. So to start, we will take our Ikonart out of our bag. We keep it in this bag because Ikonart is a photosensitive film. So we try to keep it away from light as much as possible. Ikonart film is made up of a couple of basic parts. So we have this shiny, hard polyester carrier that covers up in adhesive, and on top of that we have a soft emulsion side or the top side of the film. So let's get to exposing it. So first we will lift up our cover sheet and you will place the Ikonart down with your film on top of it, or your artwork on top of it. You want your artwork to be reading, so that's how it will stencil onto your substrate.
So we have the film, the Ikonart stencil, and we're just going to lay it onto our exposure unit. This exposure unit is part of the Ikonart kit.
This clear cover sheet is used to keep the artwork flat against our stencil so we get a good exposure. For the inkjet film that we're using, we want to expose for 35 seconds.
Okay, we're done exposing, and what do I do next?
So now we will place our film on the clipboard. This will be used to give a nice firm backing when we go to wash out our film.
Alright, perfect. So do I place it with
You place the carrier side on the clipboard,
right.
so we'll wash out the top side of our film.
Alright, perfect.
We will come over to our sink here. We have hot water with the spray setting. You'll want to hold it a couple inches away from the film and just continue to wash it out until all of your image is completely clear open areas.
And how long will this take about?
It will depend on your water temperature, your water pressure. Ideally about 2 to 3 minutes.
Alright, this is looking pretty good.
So now that's completely clear. You can finish washing out. Take a bit of paper towel and just gently blot dry the surface. This will just get rid of the excess water and help it dry a little bit faster.
Okay.
So there's a couple of ways to dry this. You can hang dry it, or you can simply lay it face up on a hard surface. Drying time will depend on kind of your conditions in your house. If it's warm and dry, it'll dry faster.
Can I use like a blow dryer or anything like that, or?
You can use medium heat on a blow dryer. Make sure you stay 6 to 8 inches away from the film so not to overheat it. But yes, you can use that to speed up drying.
Alright, perfect. So I'll just set this down on some paper towel on the counter and wait for it to dry. Alright Jacob, now that our stencil is dry, what do I do next?
So now we will get to the painting part. So we will take our substrate. Today you have this nice wooden sign. So the polyester carrier has a treated side and an untreated side. We want to make sure that we're always returning the adhesive to the treated side. So by doing that, we will flip it over and simply write back or something to indicate the back side of the polyester.
Just peels right off. Okay.
And you will apply your film to the substrate and get it centered. It's got a pressure sensitive adhesive, so if you want it to stick harder, you simply press harder.
And what's great is, like, if you don't have it straight, it's repositionable very easily.
So for painting, I like to use a squeegee for hard surfaces like this. So to do this, you'll take your paint and make a line right above your image. You want to make sure you have enough to cover all of your open areas.
Okay, that looks pretty good.
So now you will take your squeegee, use it at about a 45-degree angle, and just gently drag the paint across your film. The paints and inks we want to use are generally water-based acrylic paints or screen print inks. The water-based inks clean up a lot better, they're a lot easier to wash out, and they won't damage the stencil at all.
Alright, that looks good.
So now we can remove our stencil. Carefully remove it so that we get a nice clean break from our ink.
Wow, that looks great.
So now we can wash out our stencil and reuse it. Since your hands are full, I'll help. For starters, you want to make sure you wet your clipboard and the adhesive side of your film. And now you'll place it down on the clipboard with your adhesive side down.
And I'm wetting the back of this just so that it doesn't stick.
Yes.
Okay.
So now that we have our clipboard wetted and the adhesive side nice and wet, we can rinse off all the excess paint. This will help just kind of maintain the longevity of the stencil, as well as clean up some of the paint that we're not using.
Does the temperature of the water matter?
It doesn't. For this, you don't need hot water. Just water in general will wash off the rest of the paint. If there's excess that's not coming off, you can gently scrub it, and it'll come off a little bit faster. So now that your stencil is clean, we can reapply the carrier and let it dry, and it'll be good for use again. So I'll move this out of your way. So for starters, you can lay it emulsion side or top side down on a flat surface. You want to make sure it's very flat, there's no bubbles. So now we'll take our carrier sheet, make sure back is reading towards you so you know that you're on the right side.
Okay.
You'll simply apply it from one side and let it go across the rest of the stencil.
So I do this while the stencil is wet, right after I finish washing it? I don't
Yes.
need to do any kind of drying or blotting or anything?
Nope.
Does it?
You can use your hands, or if you have a clean squeegee, you can use a squeegee to get rid of all the bubbles and excess water that's between the stencil and the carrier.
And by adding it back to the carrier like this, I'll be able to reuse the stencil
Yes.
over and over?
Once it's dry, the stencil is good to use again, just like it was the first time. So now if you'll flip it, making sure you get both, you can quickly dry the area that you got wet. And then you can lay it down and gently blot dry the surface just to get some of the excess water off. Sometimes if you have a lot of paint or ink left on there, you can scrub a little of that off just so it's a little bit cleaner. You want to make sure your mesh openings are clear, because that's what will be used again if you print again. So now that it's clean, it's reapplied to the carrier, you can let it dry, and once it's dry, it'll be good to use again.
All right, perfect. Well, thank you for that informative demonstration, Jacob. And we will see you guys in our next video.
Okay, I don't want to say this.
Okay. Okay, let's pretend that's clean.
The pot, hang on, let's start that again.
My very own kitchen.
Ask me again. I took too long to answer.
No. Alright, whatever. Jacob, does the oh my gosh, forget it, who cares?